You ready to go?
Yep. So you want a revolution, but I'd rather be in your bed. Let's be part of the solution. Did you hear a single word I said? I don't believe we should restrain. If we fall apart, we start again. Just let me breathe. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. I need some relief. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. I need some relief. Just let me breathe. I guess I understand your problem. Just wait by a glass of wine. Slowly becoming oh so solemn when we should be in our prime. Whatever happened to our youth? If we fall apart, I need the truth. Just let me breathe. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. And I need some relief. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. And I need some relief. Just let me breathe. Loving, hating, faking, making, changing. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. Now I need some relief. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. Now I need some relief. Just let me breathe. Slam it to the air right now. Now I need some relief. Just let me breathe. Heritage of Falkirk. I guess if you had to describe Falkirk, it's bang in the middle of Glasgow and Edinburgh, central Scotland. Probably most famous for the Kelpies, Helix Park, two big massive horse heads.
The wheel.
Falkirk Wheel as well,
Steeple.
and the steeple. Music scene in Falkirk's a bit touch and go. There isn't in terms of like massive music venues or anything like that. It really isn't the hub of music in Scotland or anything like that, but it's starting to pick up a little bit now. There's more gigs, sort of bigger acts and things come to the stadium now. Had Elton John, Little Mix, I think, played.
Killers are
Killers
coming.
were
The Killers are
yeah.
coming. So it's getting a bit more of like sort of bigger acts coming through, but in terms of like small bands or smaller bands, there's not really much of a scene. So we end up usually playing Glasgow, Edinburgh, or maybe even travelling down south, sort of Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle. Because there's just more of a music scene, especially in the bigger cities. Even if you go, Dundee, Aberdeen. But Falkirk's we love where we come from. Do you know what I mean? It's a great wee town, and it's where we all met. So we've got to be good. It's got to be good for something, mate.
I think it's well known that Glasgow's the hub of live music in Scotland. There's so many venues, so many bands. Edinburgh has quite a few good venues. We like playing Edinburgh as well. the only thing with Edinburgh is like it has a lot of like noise restriction venues, so it's like the gigs have to be earlier on, where Glasgow doesn't have any of that. Also, I like Edinburgh for the whole tourism thing, because usually when you're playing a gig in Glasgow, people are going to a gig, where in Edinburgh it's like quite touristy, so it's like, do you know, like anytime we've played in Edinburgh, it's always been really busy, but like touristy.
It's new folk,
it's new people, and
one of the best gigs we played was in Edinburgh. It was at Stramash.
Yeah,
I was just going to say
It's a
that.
fantastic gig.
just a random gig that we got, and we're like, oh, we'll just go and play it, and the crowd were just like loving it, and we were on
it was packed out.
And we were in Edinburgh all day. We had a good day out, and then we were on at like 12 at night. So everybody was under the influence at that point. So it was like, but it was like loads of tourists, do you know, and just like meeting different people. Where I think Glasgow has a different vibe completely. Like Glasgow's very, very music scene, you know, so many venues, and so it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick what's our favourite, but if you're going for your Scottish live music scene, it's got to be Glasgow for us.
I was going to say the same.
Aye, so I hadn't long left school and that when I joined the band, and then we got offered a slot Saturday night, headline King Tut's.
No pressure.
Aye, I know. So obviously we worked towards that, and then to play to your first gig and your family and your friends and that, to be in such an iconic venue as well, it was class, man. It was just such a good buzz to set you up for going on to bigger and better things. So I know it was really good.
I'd be lying if I said you're going to come and see the most energetic performance you've ever seen in your life, and you're like, it's just, we're not that. Our music probably is, but in terms of actual performance, you know, we're quite relaxed and we just sort of go into our own groove and in our own
Start
space.
to enjoy the gig. I think
exactly.
the music does a lot of the work for us in terms of making it an enjoyable, like as you say, no energetic, but
like we're not like jump about the stage type of band. We're more of a groove, like get into the groove. Do you know?
But it is energetic, and I think our music's it's anthemic, and it's very sort of, I don't know, it's been referred to as stadium filling, and sing along sort of music, and I think you know, the bigger the venue, the better our music maybe comes across. I think smaller venues is great though, because you get to be more sort of interactive with the people there, but no, I mean, we give it our all every time we're live, you know what I mean? It's a sweaty occurrence, but it's it's
sweating.
It's energetic, but in its own way. Do you know what I mean? Like we're not going to be jumping about going mental. We're just not that. We're not those type of people. But
we also, it's something that we really work on. Like we work on things from what we're wearing to how we come across on stage and how we want to come across on stage, and it's probably something that's grown with us as a band the same time as our music has grown. Yeah. Do you know? And it's like something that we change all the time. We're always talking about like rebranding and changing how we look, changing how we want to come across, from photos to videos to. You
just want to be new and fresh all the time.
Yeah, like to be on stage. That's something that comes along with the music for us. So it's not, we aren't a jump on the amps and stuff crowds, and we aren't that kind of band. But what we do on stage is part of
who we are. Our sort of band identity. Yeah, and I think it's something we're conscious of as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like we do think about these things, and maybe we should, but I think it's better for us to be true to who we are as opposed to trying to be something we're not. Exactly. So we just.
I like how we are on stage is how you'll get us off stage, sort of thing. Do you know? Like we try and portray, or like we do have a laugh on stage and like be like a laugh off stage. Do you know? We try and portray that on stage as well as off stage, as well as like interviews and like I said, photos, videos. Like we try and have the same sort of branding all the way through, because
being authentic.
Yeah, just totally authentic, and that's just exactly who we are. Do you know? Yeah. And it's, I think at the very beginning, it was something that we never really. We did talk about it and stuff, but we didn't really know what we were doing at the beginning, do you know? And we're just like starting to grow, and as we are growing, that's coming with us.
It's just falling into place now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I chose John Lennon Jealous Guy because, number one, I love the song, but number two, I'm a massive Beatles fan. That's like my go-to band. And Jealous Guy for me reminds me of, I remember being about, I must have been 16, 17, and I was in my old band's guitarist's house, and he had a book of like top 100 like acoustic songs or something like that, and Jealous Guy was one of those, and I remember playing it and his mum was like, oh, that was class. I was just like, I could probably do this, that's alright, I didn't mind. And that was sort of one of those moments where it was like, maybe this is for me, do you know what I mean? It's sort of 16, 17, starting first band and everything like that, sort of building confidence. I don't know why that sticks out in my mind, but it did when I seen the record, for me.
I picked, I was familiar with quite a few of them, but for me, it's the old classic Live Forever by Oasis, because for me, growing up, wanting to play guitar and stuff, and it was like, I love sing-alongs, like, do you know, I think that's one of the first songs that you, like, watching live, and it's like when you hear that crowd singing it, like, there's probably not a better song, really, like, to hear 100,000 people singing, do you know, and it's like, that's what, when you play in a band, that's all you want, like, that's, and I think that's like the probably the best song for it, you know, in my mind. But yeah, there's quite a few there. I can't remember what one it was, but I'm a huge Bowie fan as well. So yeah,
I was just going to say, see the Live Forever.
I can't remember what song it was. It was on the one.
Changes. See the solo in Live Forever. Epic. Like,
but anybody that wanted to learn guitar, that's like.
It's still it's really like, I think Oasis, like, a lot of people love them, but a lot of people hate them. It's sort of Marmite of like music. Probably could say the same about the Beatles, but Live Forever's guitar solo is quite an emotional song, and like the guitar solo I think is the epitome of like that whole song.
I wouldn't say I wasn't like, I've never been a huge Oasis fan. Like, I can totally appreciate how good their songs are, but if I was like putting on a record now, I wouldn't listen to Oasis. Do you know? It's like, but growing up, it was like Oasis was everywhere, and then like even now, like when you're on a night out, like, and there's like a guy in the room in a pub playing, everybody wants to hear Oasis, and the reason they want to hear Oasis because they want to sing along.
Tell us why you wouldn't pick a record, because you're into something else.
I think if I picked anything on there and then told a story about it, I'd be total lying, because I wouldn't say any of the bands or that were on there were really what I listened to growing up, or even now, or like influenced my music or that either. I'm kind of like newer music, but I still listen to like a wide range of music, like heavy metal, pop punk, and sometimes if I'm driving a long way I'll put classical on just because it's something different. But that's the reason I didn't pick one, because I think it wouldn't be right to talk about a band or that and go on if it didn't really impact the way my music is now. So
and I'm a heavy drum beat Reese loves.
Well, I mean, we had a lot of gigs booked and festivals booked at the time when we were when the first lockdown sort of happened, and I mean, it same as everybody else, I guess, in similar positions where everything you had planned went out the window. But I guess throughout lockdown, we took a bit of time for ourselves and considered where we wanted to go as a band, what direction we wanted to take. I actually think in some ways it's probably been quite a good period of grace for us to sort of take a step back and look at what our plan is for the next 3-5 years. Where do we want to be? Who do we want to be? What do we want to sound like? And it's allowed us, I mean, it's went on a bit longer than we'd hoped, but or anybody wanted, but it's certainly given us a bit more of a direction, and we used as much of that time as we could to sort of, as I said, consider our sound. And I think now moving forward, a lot of the festivals again this year have also been cancelled, but we're hoping Vibration Festival in September, which is in Falkirk, will, fingers crossed, go ahead this year. And then we've got our own hometown gig in Falkirk at the Manakee in October. And then, I mean, next year's looking pretty healthy. Fingers crossed it goes ahead. Got maybe, 6-7 festivals?
7 so far.
7 festivals booked in Scotland. So, I mean, it's going to be a great year next year, fingers crossed. I mean, you've just got to roll with the punches at the moment, though.
I think as well, from when we started the band, we've never stopped. And it gets frustrating, and you get sucked up into a wee world that we never ever taken time to think. Like, we always like made decisions quickly, like this is where we're going, and I think we've taken probably more positives out of this situation than negatives, and we've looked to the positives, because one thing, if you can survive this, you can survive anything, and I think it's made us stronger as a band. And I think that when I look back before the pandemic, we were ready to go back on tour and to do as much as we can, because that's all we knew. Like, if there was a week went by that we didn't have anything on, we were like, right, what's next? But it's actually made us slow down a wee bit and actually like plan for the future. So now I feel that we're going, when live gigs happen again and festivals and stuff, I feel that we're probably going into it quite strong.
A more steady pace.
I know, definitely. And as far as like, again, we were talking earlier about like your image on stage and stuff. Like planning is hugely important, and I think we were quite spontaneous because we wanted to get we've done a lot. And
well, I was just about to say, it sort of took off quite fast, like from
really
King
fast.
Tut's. Like we just sort of escalated.
Before we knew it, we were playing festival, and like we were very fortunate but we've worked hard for it, you know. But I think what it has done is take the foot off the gas just slightly to plan the future, and then we'll go full steam ahead when we're ready.
Yeah.
Well, when the world's ready, basically.
When the world's ready for us now.
Yeah. No, definitely. Oh God, I've got a few good
I
ones.
forgot every Scottish band ever.
My mind went blank at first.
I'm going to go for... I like Ninth Wave. I think they're excellent. I like Dead Pony. I would say
Dancing on Tables.
Dancing on Tables are class as well. There's Dunfermline Band.
Retro Video Club.
Retro Video Club are class as well. My go-to would Swim School.
Yeah.
Swim School, good band. I listen to like, that's probably what I listen to the most is like unsigned music and stuff. But yeah, probably Swim School for me.
Retro Video Club and Dancing on Tables. I just think they're class. And I would say as well, look with Oprah for something a bit different. I quite like him.
Aaron Smith.
Our pal, he plays like totally different music from us, but what a voice. His name's Aaron Smith, so he's up and coming as well. He's got a big year ahead of him, so yeah, Aaron Smith, if you can ever get a chance to chat to him, or he'll blow you away, like playing wise, he's excellent, like, so.
Every time we play a gig with, like, you're blown away by the other bands that are playing, not the now, but before.
Yeah,
COVID,
and there's a good sense of every band that we've played with in Scotland, like, there's never been anybody who we didn't get on with, or like you end up having a drink with them after.
I was just about to say that.
Do you know? And it's like it's really, really like supportive because we're all in the same position. Do you know? It's not competition. Do you know?
Another band I was going to say, Super Pumas.
Super Pumas,
yeah, good guys.
We played with them at our first ever gig at King Tut's.
Forgetting the Future, they're really good as well.
I Forget in the Future.
Where's it?
They're from Thurso, so they're miles
good.
away.
I mean, they're a bit out of the way, but they're a fantastic band.
Again, great guys.
Really
like,
young guys as well.
I think that goes a long way though, because like although you can go and see a band or go and play with a band that's good, if you didn't come off stage and like talking, what's happening, and all that, it just kind of kills it after that gig. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
if you become pals with them, you'll always keep going with each other. Do you know what I mean?
I know, and there's always a story behind, like, Forgetting the Future. Like, we played with them in Inverness. That was the first time we ever played Inverness. First time they ever played Inverness. But like throughout this whole pandemic, I've been chatting to them because they've been releasing music and stuff, and like giving advice here and there, and like same with them, do you know? And they're like, "What you've got coming up?" And that was like the first ever time we played Inverness. But again, you build the friendships, and they're playing a couple of festivals that we were meant to be playing on this year, so they've been put back to next year.
But we'll catch up.
But the first thing we're like,
what's happening? We'll get you there.
We'll get you there, sort of thing. And I think that's what's really good about the Scottish music scene is like there is that togetherness, do you know? And no matter, there's a lot of bands come from Glasgow. We obviously come from a small town outside Glasgow, and it's hard to get into that Glasgow scene. But when you're playing Glasgow and all the Glasgow, but like it's just like one big scene, really, do you know? And I think the bands up and coming now, do you know, there's just so many. And I kind of wait to see what festivals are going to be like next year and gigs.
Yeah.
I've already bought tickets for loads of gigs for next year. Well, the end of this year. Hopefully they go ahead.
Another band worth a mention, but they aren't Scottish, is Red Drum Club. They're from Liverpool, but they're probably the best band I've ever seen on scene. Like
definitely 100%.
The best
Probably one
band.
of the best bands we've played with. we used to.
Spoiled them a few times, like 5 times or something, but it's just like in terms of their live show, the best
unbelievable.
live show I've
Yeah,
ever seen from an unsigned band.
How many is there in the band? 6?
6.
And they've got a trumpet player, not that they're class.
They're amazing.
so
It's like spaghetti western. No, well, I say it's like spaghetti western type, like Americana music.
Scouse Americana.
Scouse Americana. Spaghetti western's probably they'll not like that, but it's like Americana sort of music, but it's class, like it's phenomenal.
The rest of our